Here. Here.
Here.
Okay. All right, tonight we'll be hearing presentations from 3 dispatch companies who have submitted bids to provide dispatch service to the village. Tonight we have Linwood is here. If you would stand, so we can see who you are. Out there, okay, in the back. We got Linwood in the back. We have Bud's, if they're over here in the front. And we have Kurt's in the back. Okay. Before we get started, what we're going to do is there's only one presenter in here at a time. We've got rooms. I've already talked to all 3. The other 2 will be taken out to rooms in the back. So I only want one presenter here at a time. So it makes it a little bit fair as you're going through your presentations. But again, it's no secret the village has been working on cutting initiatives, cost initiatives, giving the village's current financials, along with a decrease in revenue from the state of Illinois. In the last couple of months, the village has been negotiations for a successor contract with the FOP and the village's dispatch bargaining unit. A full cost analysis of the village's dispatch center was completed, and the yearly costs are as follows. Labor, $298,000, overtime, $54,000, health insurance, $100,000, Social Security and IMRF, $76,000, workers' compensation, $9,000, consultant fees, which for negotiations, grievances, litigation, about $7,500. Other things like uniform allowance, about $3,150. However, the total projected yearly cost to run the dispatch center this year would have exceeded $600,000. This cost did not account for overhead equipment upgrades. It's going to exceed $500,000 because of the federal unfunded mandate. Equipment near to the end of life and its useful life replacement for it is approximately between $1.5 and $2 million. Future increases because of wages, insurance, etc., which would have increased the overline item by 2 to 7% annually. So their costs were discussed with the village board. We looked at everything. The village board requested comparison costs of contracting out the village's dispatch service. When the board reviewed the costs, the entire board, all the way from Trustee Burgess to Trustee Williams, all agreed contracting out was the direction of the village. By contracting out, we eliminate wages, overtime, health care, retirement contributions the village currently makes. This means an immediate savings of approximately $300,000 a year. Because we're in the midst of negotiations, we could not speak publicly about the possible outsourcing of dispatch services. Moreover, we had to give the union and its members the opportunity to meet or beat the savings the village would see if it privatized its dispatch center. After meeting with the union was unable to meet or beat the savings the village presented to them. I want to be clear on behalf of myself and the board. This move is in no way a reflection on the work performed by our dispatchers or them individually. This is purely a financial decision and has nothing to do with our dispatchers' ability or work performed over the years. In fact, we have advised the FOP we will do whatever we can to find them work with other dispatch centers. Just yesterday, we informed the FOP that 2 out of 3 presenters tonight have job openings for our dispatchers. Whichever center the board decides to sign on with, the village will receive professional dispatch service. With the advancement of technology, many communities are moving in this direction. No longer do municipalities need to own their dispatch centers or have a dispatch center within their municipal boundaries. Dispatch centers are essentially high-tech call centers that can be located anywhere without a reduction in response time to those in need. Again, this is purely a financial decision. This will save the village approximately $300,000 a year. To give you a little example, over $1.5 million in the first 5 years and over $3 million in 10 years. We will now hear from 3 dispatch centers that provided quotes to the village of Linwood, Bud's, and Kurt's. I would ask that we refrain from any outbursts so that everyone can hear all the information. Again, we appreciate everyone coming out tonight. So what we'll do is, the first one that's on the agenda is Buzz. I'll have you come up and get ready. The attorney is going to take Kurtz and Linwood. If you follow him right out that side door, we've got two separate rooms to the end. And I would ask you to speak loudly into the mics. We're sitting under this dome where it sounds like we're speaking really loud, but the residents in the back rooms cannot hear. So as it gets out, at least the quieter it is. So. And if they cannot hear you, believe me, they'll know. Yeah. Especially since your back's to them, so they won't be able to hear you as clearly as we can hear.
Well, good evening. My name is Jack Daly. I'm the president of the ambulance. A little bit about the company. We handed out a little fact sheet.
Yeah, for the poster. They can't hear you back there.
A little bit about the fact sheet I gave out to you. We all know the consolidation of dispatch centers is something that's happening all over the country. Illinois had talks with the new administration about perhaps county-wide dispatch consolidation or even sectional dispatching with multiple county jurisdictions. Lake County, Indiana just went to a combined dispatch center with all the communities in Lake County now moving into the sheriff's office. It's been a little slow. They wanted to have it done by the first of the year, but they're moving in that way. We only learned a few days ago that this was going on, so we scrambled to put this proposal together really fast and did it to you. A little bit about who we are. I've been a paramedic for 36 years, been a police officer for 34 years. I work with the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force. I understand the critical needs of police. I was also the assistant fire chief in Vernon for 10 years, and still am a paramedic and still respond to calls, and was just on a Sauk Village call on Friday. I understand acutely what needs to be done in the dispatch center and how important it is, and this is a life safety issue. This is nothing to be played around with. We currently, for the last 11 years, have been dispatching for the village of Dalton, and they ran into the same situation back then, the finances and money, and weren't able to keep the employees on. And when we learned that they were going to try to contract it out, we were asked to put together a proposal. We did. There were several bidders, and we were the successful bidder. In our 11 years at the village of Dalton, we've not had a problem. We supplied the manpower to their facility, but we just went through a spirited bid process with another vendor, and were awarded the contract a couple months ago again with the village of Dalton, extending us for 2 more years. But part of that agreement was that we got to move it out of the fire station, where the fire department no longer wanted it, and to our building in Dalton, our operational headquarters for the ambulance company. All of our personnel there are EMD certified trained people for pre-arrival directions, and other agencies call us with their handoffs for emergencies when they need advice. And everybody in our new center, including the ambulance personnel and all the dispatch personnel moving into our new center, which will be up and running by June 1st, will be completely certified in all the law enforcement leads and into the emergency medical dispatch protocol that's required by the state. Our building in Dalton is equipped with a ONAN natural gas generator. It has uninterrupted power supply system and surge protection to prevent any electronic failures that will run 12 hours without the generator going on. Unfortunately, we've had to use it once or twice during massive power failures, but we never even skipped a beat. And the system is so good that our dispatchers inside the building don't even know if the power's gone out. Nothing changes for them at all. They'd have to walk out to our garage to see some of the garage lights out to know where the power is. So we're excited to be able to at least present to you guys tonight what we could do for you. We understand that time is of the essence for you folks here and the decision you have to make. It would take a little bit of time strategically to move you into our facility, but that's part of the reason why we can lower the price, because we'd be combining the resources with the Dalton agency, and there's several other agencies that have contacted us about expanding our center even larger. So labor-wise, we're able to just cut the costs a little bit, and that during the non-peak hours, there would not need to be as many people in the room, and we'd share the resources with all the agencies. We'd be having all properly trained, certified people to handle all the calls. And the overflow calls on 911 can be picked up on the ambulance side as well. They'll all be certified and able to answer those calls, because we already have people in place in our building now. So we'll even be able to build on that better and provide better service. Ron Robertson, our Director of Operations, in the room. Some of you have probably seen him show up, wonder what the heck he's doing here at 3 in the morning. Everybody knows Ron lives locally here, and he shows up on all the major calls that happen in this community and the surrounding communities. and he's a resource for all. Tom Wapo, my business partner, he's also been a paramedic for 32 years, and today's his birthday, by the way. Which I did not remember until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Tom also is a paramedic. We all run calls. We run the business. We're on the street. We're not a corporation just packing in a paycheck or worrying about what the next day is going to be. We actually work our company. We're all on call 24 hours a day. And anytime any one of us can be in an ambulance or be sitting in the dispatch center or emptying the garbage cans, whatever it takes to get the day by, we do all that. So we're very much involved in our company. We're hands-on. We're not marketing people. We're not salespeople. When we went through the Dalton procedure for their bid, we ended up having 3 meetings with that. There was a lot of accusations made of things we didn't do, and we proved that we were correct every step of the way, and that's why we were the successful bidder. We know that the challenges are tough today in town. We know that what's going on with economics in the state, we're on a course we can't sustain to be successful. And the communities, it trickles down to us at the local level. We know that just dealing with Medicaid alone from the ambulance side, they're almost a year behind in paying their claims. And so we understand completely what it is to wait for tax dollars and for them to decide what they're going to pay you, when they're going to pay you, and how they're going to give it to you, if they're going to give it to you. We're here to answer questions about the proposal that you've already had submitted. I just wanted you to know who we are and that we, unlike other people, we're here. We're in your town already. You know what we do with the ambulance and paramedic service we provide to this community. You know we're here 24/7, and I think anybody that's dealt with us knows anything they need from us. We're always been over backwards to work with you guys to get it done. Any questions?
Trustee Orange?
What is your proposal? You're planning to operate out of our center?
Is yours on?
You're planning to operate at our center for the first year or until June 1st?
We're willing to staff your center the day that your center ceases to operate until we can get the equipment into our building to move you over. So however long that takes, we will man your facility.
And everybody that you have on your center, dispatch center, is all LEED certified, and right?
Yes, everybody's criminal background checks, they're fingerprinted. You have to have a SID number from the state, which is a state ID number. That's put into the LEED system. They pass their LEEDS exam, and once they clear the background with the state via the fingerprints, and they're issued their LEED cert, and they're allowed to run. And we do location, we do all the services that a dispatch center has.
And if the village like to see that, those various reports to look at, if they need to look at them.
Oh yeah, we can show you certs, absolutely.
And you said you've been doing it for what, 13 years? How do you for?
Village of Dalton, we've been doing for about going on 11. We're a few weeks short of 11, right? Or 13. My mistake. Boy, that's very good.
You guys have been with us for 13 years?
Yes.
As of May 1st. Wow. I was on board when you guys do.
It doesn't seem possible how time flies, especially the older we get, the faster it goes.
It does.
And you have 2 dispatchers designated, or just one to the Dalton?
We have 2 dispatchers, one sits fire, one sits police, and during peak hours or special events or times, sometimes rough, we bring in a 3rd right now. And we also have working supervisors. Current dispatch office is actually going to be positioned right outside my door, and and Ron's door will be across the hall. And we're the 2 that could jump in at any given time should something go on and they need help. But there's also our shift managers in the building are cross-trained for the phone and emergency medical dispatch. They can jump in and help. We have plenty of resources available to bring people in. So even if we should have a medical emergency and somebody's sick and has to go home early, we'll have that chair filled right away.
All right. Your proposal gave us a flat rate for monthly now. After the first 2 years, will you be changing that from a monthly, yearly, to an annual, to a call, based on call?
No, we're going to call-based dispatching. We only do it on a flat fee each year.
I noticed in one section, I think it's 2.2, that you will be taking care of all of the necessary building, heat, electrical, water,
That's in our building. Once it moves to our building, there will be no expense to operate your center. We'll be responsible for all the communications equipment we operate, the 911 switch, which we have the brand new next generation switch coming in, which will allow us to do text messaging into the 911 center as well as voice over internet protocol, which is people using computer-based, like Skype type telephones, which currently I believe your system probably doesn't have, which is one of the big expenses you're talking about. And that switch is expandable up to 100 positions, so we can bring in a heck of a lot of people off that switch. But it's brand new, state of the art, and it's compliant with every new regulation for the next 5 years.
And you have it already?
We have it. It's actually the installation of that switch starts tomorrow in our building. The hardware's been in the garage for a week.
With our employees that's on our dispatch center now, would they be able to switch over to your company if they're qualified and so forth?
Well, they'll be able to apply for us. We'll make sure that we can come to an agreement with them where they're content, we're content. I mean, obviously, they have to be able to work within the environment we have, but we're certainly going to be interested in interviewing everybody and talking to everybody.
And are you guys already up and running off of the new county 800 megahertz, I believe?
No. Dalton is on a 400 megahertz radio bandwidth right now. I'm not sure what yours is, but it's technology. It's not that difficult to bring that base station in to match whatever equipment your guys have.
I thought the entire south suburban was already been upgraded to the county frequency.
No, the county came out with the 800 radios. Actually, they're called the Starcom series of radios. I mean, I have one I carry when I'm called out on the task force call-outs. They allow you to go from a 155 bandwidth, like what the fire department is today, all the way up to 900 megahertz. And they're multi-function channels. They're beautiful radios, but they're extremely expensive for the user in the field. Each portable is anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000, depending on how it's programmed and set up. But you can talk walkie-talkie to walkie-talkie to Cairo, Illinois from here with no problem.
So that would be a cost that we would have to think about on our squad cars, get them down to your megahertz, right?
No, we would be using your existing frequency right now.
Okay.
I mean, we would.
So you have the capability
Yes.
to do that now?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and get some more questions here. Trustee Morton?
Now, one of the concerns that I have right now is with the computers that are in the squad cars and also the fire engines and stuff like that. And would your system be able now to communicate with them?
We would be taking over your CAD system, but yes, the technology would be, nothing would change. We're just moving it from one place to another place, and whatever the infrastructure is to put in place for it to talk and have good communications and fire engines and the computers, we'll work with that. Most of that's wireless internet anyway.
All right. Now, the FCC license that we currently carry for our emergency services, our fire department, our Department of Public Works, and the police department, would we still hold the license, or would you guys be taking over the license?
We would have a license on our end for operating our equipment. You would still have your license for operating your equipment.
Okay.
We have to apply to the FCC just to operate on that radio frequency as the dispatch side of your equation.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. In your proposal, I didn't see anything for a yearly upgrade. Do you offer? I'm sure you have yearly upgrades. Is that a price that you will absorb, or is that something that we would have to pay?
You mean our equipment?
Yes.
Yeah, we're responsible for everything on our end.
Okay.
That's an all-inclusive price. So if somebody comes out and says you got to spend this $10,000 on a new fix, that's on us to take care of it.
Okay, and also your monitoring system. As far you're capable of monitoring our current dispatch center or our current police department and things like that. Are you able to do that? Is that an extra cost also?
No, that cost is going to have us as if it was here. It's not going to be any different. We're going to have your frequencies in our room. we'll work with your CAD vendor to get the CAD system that you already own. We'll just operate it on our end, and we'll be communicating with your cars just the same as they were here.
No, I mean the monitor, I'm talking about as far as the cameras and things like that. Will we have a dedicated screen, in other words, that we can, that I guess your dispatchers will look at to see if there's anyone in our cells or, around?
That's something we have to work out with you, because if you have somebody in the cells, I believe that the Illinois Department of Correction rules require there to be somebody in the building with a prisoner. You can't leave them alone and watch them remotely.
Okay, so there won't, if we were to have a monitoring in there, can you guys offer that?
Yeah, but that again would be internet-based protocol. We can certainly feed a video line of anything going on at your facility. Even if somebody walks in the front door and wants to call for service, I'm sure we could arrange to have that viewed in our room.
Okay. It was asked earlier about your amount monthly that you would do it for the first 2 years, but you have a proposed term for 5 years. So I'm asking, after 2 years, will it change, or is it going to stay the same that we lock in at this particular point in time for 5 years?
Well, in the event, why we put a 2-year term on it, is in the event if we had another community, and it's based on population, that's how your bids were priced out, okay? You could be saving money if we bring in another large community, okay? So what we would do is we'd lower Dalton's rate and lower your rate a little bit, and these guys would come in at their base rate level. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why that was built in. We are really working hard to get more communities involved.
Okay.
Right.
So and now, with your dispatch center that you're talking about, state-of-the-art, that you're in the process of building right now, will all that cost be based, will it come from your existing, I guess, Dalton, or are you going to add that in to anyone else that comes in?
There's no signing bonus or fee to come in and join the system. We've been planning for the system for years. Since the day we started with Dalton, that was always the plan, and we were gearing up with the infrastructure in the building to handle it. We're to the point now we're purchasing the technology. We're buying the technology over time. We're borrowing money, we're spreading it out over time at a reasonable rate to be able to handle. And as Tom said, our biggest thing is we've been contacted by quite a few people suddenly that have this desire to do basically what you're talking about tonight, and that's to consolidate services. That's okay. I'm glad it wasn't mine. But the price you see is the price you're going to pay, and there's not going to be any surprises, any additions, or anything else at all. And depending how well we can grow the system and how well it can grow, it's going to be better for everybody. It's going to be shared the wealth with the other groups.
And my last question, I just want to be clarified, where I want to clarify this particular. Our radios that we have right now would match up with your system. We won't have to change any.
You don't have to buy any new radio equipment. That's up to the village when they decide what they have to do with radio equipment. It'll be our responsibility to provide that transmission to you and be able to receive the transmission. Whatever that takes for us to do that, we'll have to do on our end.
Okay, because that's not only the police, but the fire.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll even talk to the mayor's car if he has to.
I don't know what my kid's talking to me. I'm not going to do this on this. Trustee.
I have one question. How many dispatchers do you have in total?
We have, so currently we have 17 that we're operating the center with, plus we have 4 or 5 that can jump into the center at any time. They're also certified and work there occasionally for vacations or if there's an emergency and we have to cover a shift.
Okay, so per shift, how many do you have?
2 most of the time. But we'll end up with at least 4 in the room once it moves to our building.
Okay, and then are those 2 still, are they doing bug business and?
No, they're currently adult, but they will be designated to dispatch, the police and fire dispatch. And our goal is with enough towns, we would actually create a fire dispatch side and a police dispatch side, just so the specialties are a little more separated and people aren't trying to commingle and work together.
Okay, so you said we should open up the center June 1st. And how many communities are you going to accommodate?
The building walls can be moved in a matter of days, so there's no, it's in our ambulance garage in Dalton right now. It's currently going to be able to handle 4 positions, with a 5th emergency position, or supervisory position in the room. And then should the need arise for some of these other communities to come in, then another wall will come down and the office will get bigger, it'll be expanded. Yeah, times, we have about 3,500 square feet we can occupy of space in our existing area. And by walls coming down, I mean we move the offices around, and if need be, we throw the ambulance folks into a different section of the building. It's all expandable, it's all wired, it's already built.
Trustee Martin?
Another question that I have here is, it was brought up, our records that we have now, in our database that we have now, when we switch over to you guys, would we be able to transfer that data into your system? Like if somebody, wants to come down and say, hey, we were just involved in a minor accident and I want to get a police report.
That would still come to your station for that. They would come and see you for that.
Okay, but the information is going to be through you guys.
Or whatever is currently in your database will be operating.
Okay, so we would be able to transfer that data into your system?
Oh yeah, well, it'll be your system. We'll have to meet with your CAD vendor and your records RMS vendor, and we will be operating your equipment just as it is. It's not going to change as far as the level of stuff that guys get on, the girls get on the street and they're in the police cars. And we'll have access to all previous call records and alarms and who the emergency contacts are, and past calls to a house. And they're going to get the same calls transmitted to their screen that they get now on the squad cars on their CAD computers. We'll still be able to run their own license plates in the field. And they need something special run, they'll come back to us for that. It'll be no different than the service that the end user is getting on the street right now. Nothing will be different.
Remember the other facility that we were at, and they were talking about the Win 32 or something like that? Can you-
I guess the question, and what I'm hearing is, a lot of dispatch centers have their own software. So I guess the question is, with Sauk Village, would you, and I think you already answered this, but just to clear it up, would you look to move Sauk Village into the current software that you're using, or is your goal just to continue using the software that Sauk Village is using?
Use the same software. We wouldn't change where you're at now. It would be a lot to integrate a new system in. You wouldn't have access to the old data. In the case of Dalton, we are actually adding Spillman technology for the CAD side, the dispatch side for them, but it's up to them if they want the records administration side and the in-car computers. That would still be their expense. We're only providing everything from the dispatch end for them, and they've never been on a CAD system, so this is going to be their first bit of all this information they're going to get.
And we understand that you said that you'd be responsible for all the upgrades. Currently, our system has quite a few upgrades it needs. Are you looking for Sauk Village to be responsible for those upgrades to our system? Or are you taking control of Sauk Village's system and you will do all the upgrades?
What are you talking about upgrade-wise? You talking about technology in the fleet or technology at the dispatch level?
At the dispatch level?
I'd have to see it. I mean, I don't know what it is you're speaking of, what upgrade. If it's just minor software or hardware, we'll be responsible for that. The hardware will be ours. As far as the software upgrades, they're part of your existing CAD system. Do you have an SMA agreement with them now? Service maintenance?
We get all that information from our sure we do.
So then they would normally just, if you were under an SMA with them, I imagine they're sending you the upgrades regularly to the CAD, to your records management and everything else. That's all. That's the records management side is still your responsibility. The CAD side will be our responsibility.
Chris, you're involved.
I'm sorry. Who is your CAD provider? Using New World?
New World.
Yeah, we use New World.
All right.
We're at 7.0.
7.0.
Yeah, we're way
Yeah, you're good.
So what, 11 now or something, or 12?
12.
12 is probably in the wind right now, yeah.
So, Chris, you know about the unfunded mandates coming out of Springfield and...
I've heard of such a thing.
Yeah. So, kind of give us an idea compared to what still needs to be done when it comes to mandates coming out of Springfield with upgrades? And I know you've already talked about, you've got the new technology coming in for the
The
cell
next
phones,
gen.
the next gen, you have that. Is there anything that you do not have that you're looking at, or are there any additional capital expenditures or improvements that you're looking at doing?
I'll defer to Ron, he's working on it.
Not at this time here, it's, everything we have is going to be state-of-the-art, upgraded to where technology is currently, and we have agreed with the companies that we contracted that any upgrades that happen in the next 5 years, we get all of that.
Okay. Now, if Sauk Village wanted to upgrade out of New World and go to your system, approximately how much would that cost the village?
I can't answer that question for what the Stillman site. It wouldn't cost you any more. I can have multiple users on Stillman, I can't. I'm purchasing the product, I'm operating the product. It's going to be a shared database through what's called Insight, which means we'll have access to ECOM's information, Lake County, Indiana's information, Cal City, Burns information. They're already all using Stillman, and the work is being done right now to create that dynamic switch to exchange all that information. I know that the Cal City is probably one of the big coordinators of this. Commander Seams over there. We, through that system, have access already to all the Indiana stuff. And we'll be joint as part of their server with them, so we'll be able to pull that in. But I have a multi-user license. I can bring in as many users as I want into the Stillman system and partition it off by agency. But the CADs, or the records management side, and the computer-aided dispatch side, or the CAD units in the field, that technology would be something that would have to come from within still the operating budget of the police department.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I'd like to say one thing that I don't know if people realize. Moving a dispatch center doesn't happen overnight. And I understand the financial restraints you're in. I totally understand the whole situation, what's going on out here. We've gone through this with our other town. But to move a dispatch center, you have to have the Illinois Commerce Commission's permission, which is a 3 to 4 month process. In the meantime, we can man the station out of your dispatch center flawlessly without any difference. Well, we will assist you with all the paperwork. Really, your attorney to get a good ICC. We did it on the ICC today. They accepted that paperwork from Dolphin and us as of today. They say that's how today is true. So you got to keep that in mind. It might take a few months to move it. So don't think it happens overnight. I want you to think that as it does. And with your personnel, just to give you an idea, when we took over Dolphin, at that current time they had 14 employees, all 14 employed. We took on 10 of them immediately. The other 4 chose not. So your people would definitely have an option to sit down and talk with us and go through the whole thing and see how things work out.
I was going to say thank you. That was going to be my question. Because you stated that you'll be ready to start as soon as May 1st. If you didn't use our people, would you still have to have a training session or whatever you, because I'm sure May 1st you would use our equipment, correct?
Yes.
So therefore, and I'm glad you said what you said, we would give our people a chance to apply for that position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they know it the best already, it would be foolish not to.
Okay. I'm just wondering because the reason I'm saying that is for twofold. One, if they go with you, it is a job. I hope it's not just a temporary job until after we move out of here. And then number two, eventually what you want to do is, I guess, my question would be, how long will it take to go, even right now, just to change over? Won't it take some time to get everything in place, just to change over? Not when your center is done, but to change over and fully go into Dalton. Doesn't that take time to do that?
Well, that's what Ron was saying. It's going to be about getting the Illinois State Commerce Commission approval. They're the ones that regulate 911. So they're the ones that have to give the authority to say, yes, you can move this dispatch to this location. You have to approve the location, which our location's approved already, but you still have to go through the red tape of the bureaucracy of the state to get that accomplished and get the permissions to do that.
Okay, so in other words, if we use our people right now, you won't have to do anything other than just change the name to Sauk Village.
So paycheck is going to come from us.
But never be it until such time.
Yes.
Okay.
And just one thing in closing, if I can. All the years I told you I've been in the business, and Buds has been here, I'm the second generation. I got a daughter here who's the third generation. Gave me my first 2 grandkids 2 years ago, which means they're 2 now, and we're pulling our hair out. But twins, when I grow up, I didn't mention that. I have 3 daughters that are paramedics, one that works in marketing for the company, and Tom's family. We're all related, and Ronnie might as well be family. How many years? 30? People have a tendency to stay with us for a long time. We have several people in our organization that are approaching 30 years, and a lot of them in the 20s and the high teens. We believe in treating our people right as well, and not forcing the issue with them. We listen to what they say, and we make the changes, because if they do it every day and they got their hands on it every day, I kind of liken myself to a firefighter. I go run to this emergency or take care of that or do this, or address some questions somebody has coming into the building. But the men and women that work for us are of the best caliber and quality. And it kind of works with everybody that way. It rubs off to be the best. We're very proud of everybody we have, and I know we would do a great job for Sauk Village if this is the way you have to go.
Thank you. On a side note, I would say enjoy those twins now. They're 2. Mine just turned 18, so they're a lot better before they're a teenager. Yes, yes, I
We've been committed to this community for 13 years. And through thick and thin, you can ask Boham, when the monies weren't coming in for you, even for up to 4 to 6 months, we didn't stop providing our service to you or anything, or come down and, when payments were really tough. So we are very, very committed to this community. And thank you very much for letting us get this.
All right, thank you for coming out. Thank you. Yes, there's no action to take or anything. Thank you. So Mike has already left to go get the next presenters. Great. There's plenty of chairs for people standing in the back. I know there's a bunch of seats sitting over here in front. I see some seats over there. If you want to sit, if you want to have a seat, feel free to go in. All right. Buzz is All right, next presenter, I can't call your name, but you're central, right? I'm sorry. So, but you're based out of Linwood, so but it's central dispatch. So we get the record clear, right? All right, I'd ask everyone to please slow down a little bit so everyone has the opportunity to hear the next one. We have Central Dispatch with us, and that's a great presentation. Thank you. You know, yeah, if that's an announcement, please speak very loud in the mic. We are underneath this dome, so it sounds like you're speaking very loud. However, the people in the back cannot hear. So it's not sound like you're yelling, but maybe it's best.
All right, how's this?
Yes, and can you give your names for everyone?
I'm Tammy Pinkowitz, and I'm one supervisor, and this is Deputy Chief Terry Schubert with the Police Department. Good evening. I'd like to thank all of you for inviting us to present Central Dispatch's consolidation proposal for municipal dispatching services. I'm Janine Pinkowitz, and I'm one supervisor for Central Dispatch, and with me this evening is Deputy Chief Terry Schubert from the Linwood Police Department. I've been dispatching for Central Dispatch for 18 years, 4 of which I've been 911 supervisor. And prior to Central Dispatch, I began my career at South Island Police Department, of which I was there for 2 years. Central Dispatch responds to the public safety needs of citizens by providing professional call taking, excellent dispatch delivery, and highly skilled support services to pre-hospital medical, fire, and law enforcement agencies. In 1992, Linwood Village Board unanimously approved to build its own public safety answering point. In 1993, the Village of Thornton joined forces for municipal dispatching services. And in 1999, the Village of East Hazel Crest filed suit. In 2012, Lansing Police Department and Fire Dispatch sought services to be their primary backup dispatch center. Central Dispatch is a consolidated dispatch center currently providing police, fire, EMS, ESTA, and Public Works dispatching services for the villages of Linwood, Thornton, and East Hazel Crest. Central Dispatch is also the primary backup dispatch center for Lansing Police Department and Fire, and co-backup dispatch center for Econ. Our staff consists of 10 full-time telecommunicators, 5 of which are certified training officers, and 3 are ILTER members. We have 3 part-time telecommunicators and 1 full-time IT personnel on staff. Our training consists of a 6-week program in-house, that's an 8-week program in-house for experienced dispatchers, and a 22-week in-house training program for inexperienced dispatchers. We have a quality assurance program, a continuing education program, and all necessary state certifications must be met. As far as telecommunicator qualifications, pre-employment, the candidate must complete a detailed application, go through an interview process, computerized dispatching test, polygraph examination, criminal history, driver's license, fingerprint check, a drug screening, and a reference check. Post-employment, they must meet emergency medical dispatch certification, LEADS, CPR, and NIMS certification, and they must complete at least 1 police ride-along with each member community, and fire ride-along is optional. This is one picture of our dispatch center and one of the councils. On the very bottom left screen is our phone system. Going from that to the right is our CAD system. And the very far right screen on the bottom is the radio console. Going up 1 level to the left is the record system, and the right kind of whited out screen is the LEADS terminal. The panels across the top of the wall display each of our town's station cameras as well as remote cameras located throughout each town. Our dispatch center functions in this way. The 911 operator functions as the call taker as well as the dispatcher. We are the primary dispatch center and answering point for 3 municipalities. We are also the primary LEADS terminal for 4 police departments. We operate on the 800 megahertz Cook County radio system, and our current members are in the Mavis 24 group. We have 4 councils in our dispatch room, We have 2 dispatchers that are on duty 24/7, and they work in 8-hour shifts. Total combined calls for service in 2014 was 31,424. Below that, I've broken them down by town. The total operating expenditures in 2014 was approximately $890,000. This included employee salary and benefits, PSAP equipment, training, and the other items listed below that. Our average number of wireline, wireless 911 calls per year is 9,056. The average 911 call wait time is 5 seconds, and the average 911 call duration is 63 seconds. Some of our primary vendors include for CAD records, EmergeTech, for our radio equipment and consoles, Minor Electronics, our tornado sirens, Granite. For our video system, it's Current Technologies, and Pyramid Alarm System, and Presidio. This next picture is another console that we have in our dispatch center. All 4 consoles are set up to mirror one another. This one on the very far right has another screen, and that is our weather system, which alerts us to storm watches and warnings and tornado watches and warnings. Our emergency telephone system board consists of a representative of the police, fire, and ESTA departments from each member community, a rotating appointed citizen for a 2-year term, and the 911 supervisor. Some membership advantages operationally: 3 voting board members, all leads transactions, grant consortiums, CAD mapping, conversion to IP-based radio networks, and canopy infrastructure. Administratively, an immediate savings in cost of personnel, all necessary ICC filing, that includes startup and annual, discipline issues, and we have an accounting staff that handles all the 911 revenue and invoicing. This is agency proposal number 1. It's for $260,000 year 1, or $21,667 monthly. This includes a base pay for the employees, employee benefits, built-in overtime, integrated CAD and records purchase. This option also provides for 4 full-time employees, part-time employee fill-in, and is based on an 8-hour shift. Additionally, for proposal number 1, telephone line expenditure might be required, approximately $10,000 additional. Radio expenditure may be required if network must be upgraded to VHF. That's on the police side. And video system expenditure may be required to monitor prisoners, buildings, and remote camera locations. Agency proposal number 2, $280,000 year 1, or $23,334 monthly. This includes the base pay again, employee benefits, built-in overtime, integrated CAD and records, telephone line transfer and or radio upgrades. And this also provides for the 4 full-time employees, part-time employee fill-in, and based on the 8-hour shift. Additional to agency proposal number 2 would be the video system again. This is the formula-based calculation. First year, the contract would primarily cover personnel and startup costs. After year 1, the contract would place your municipality into the formula-based calculation, utilizing all 4 towns. Note the formula allows for an annual 3% increase for operational costs throughout the contract. And the formula was based on an 18,000 call volume number provided by the village attorney. This is a slide of the actual calculation, and it's hard to see up here, but it was presented in the original proposal that the village board was given. Annual costs versus one-time costs. Examples include for annual costs, CAD and records maintenance agreement, radio console, equipment maintenance, and the reverse 911 user agreement. One-time cost examples include purchase of a records software package, a fire package, iWin, and the video system. Options that are available to you include police record software, which tallies out to $6,500. The Illinois Wireless Information Network, which is the iWin, that's $1,000 per computer license initially, and then that would be $50 per month per air card. What this is about is this is basically what we use as mobile for the police. Next is the integrated video system. This is a breakdown of the final cost per community of the video system upgrade that we purchased through current technologies. The cost per community was dependent on the number of cameras each community deployed in their stations or throughout their towns. So it could be minimal or it can be very high depending on whatever is chosen. And then at the bottom, the Blackboard Connect is the reverse 911. That's the breakdown of what each town currently pays for this system per year, and that's based on population. This is a picture of our 2 radio towers that we have behind the Village Hall. And it just has the radio equipment, cellular equipment, and some cameras on them. Moving forward, as a board, we've been discussing a capital improvement fund. This was to be established for future large purchases. This would be an account that is separate from the 911 individual accounts. And these are the options that we've been looking at as to how to fund that. One would be set up a monthly amount that's agreed upon. Another idea was to round up to the nearest 1,000 on monthly allotment for services. So the example for this would be for Sauk Village's proposal number 1, which would have been $21,667 per month. It would be rounded to $22,000 per month. The overage would go then into the capital improvement fund. It has always been the intent of Central Dispatch to relocate the dispatch center to the municipally owned building next to Linwood Village Hall, currently being used as the senior youth center. The new dispatch center would occupy the entire 2nd floor. This is a picture of that building on the outside. This is a picture of the backup generator located at that building for self-sustainment. And these are just some outside pictures of the same building. This next picture is a view of the 2nd floor where the dispatch center would go. This is one view and another view. And then this space also includes 3 other rooms that would be utilized for office space and conference area. It also has a private access for the dispatchers. There's an elevator on the other side, so we are ADA compliant. On Saturday, some of the village officials came out for a site visit, and they had a few questions that they wanted me to follow up on. One was, would the contract be able to be written for 5 years? And the answer to that is yes. Would we be able to provide interim dispatching at Sauk Village? The answer to that is also yes. Can we absorb current dispatchers if they meet background requirements? That is also correct. We would be willing to do that. And the next item is the 911 phone system upgrade. We looked into this, and with the impending state requirements that all 911 phone systems be able to receive text messages as well as video, we are also in need of an upgrade to accommodate those means of communications. I have since spoken to our 911 board members, and since we have just begun this process, if you were to enter into an agreement with us, this would be also considered a shared expense. And then prisoner housing, the deputy chief's going to address that.
In terms of prisoner housing, we do have the capabilities to house the prisoners at Linwood. that would be, a meeting would have to be held with the chief of police and myself and the police executives from Sauk Village to make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of numbers and capacities so that the Linwood Station could meet the needs of Sauk Village.
Okay, that's all the presentation. I don't know if the board or anybody else has any questions.
Currently, we're talking about the prisoner houses and monitoring. Currently, how many communities do you monitor their cells?
So that would be the Thornton, Linwood, and East Hazel Crest.
And you're currently monitoring their cells?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Trustee Burns.
Yes, I just have a question. I forgot to ask you the last time I met you. If a person has home security, do they have to reapply to your dispatch, or will it automatically be picked up once you change over?
I believe that it's converted over. We wouldn't charge anything at Linwood. If you, as an individual town, charge a permit, that would be on your end if you chose to do so.
So they wouldn't have to reapply, they can just, there's nothing, it would just automatically take effect when you guys get it.
Yeah, I believe we would just take the alarm over. They would probably have to fill out some paperwork that would go to Pyramid Alarm. That is the vendor that we use for the alarm board system.
And the last question, when we talked about, when we met you, right now, you told us that it would take about 30 to 60 days to be compliant, in other words, to move into your building. How long would it take right now if we needed you May 1st? Are you ready to move in Sauk Village and currently take, our equipment and use our equipment until such time?
That was discussed, and we would be able to do so if we are able to absorb some of your current employees and then utilize ours as well.
Makes sense.
Trustee Burns.
You said alarm paperwork. How would that process work? Would you notify the people in the town that currently have an alarm? Would that be the responsibility of the village, or?
I don't have an absolute answer for that. I have to call the alarm company and find out for sure. This is the first time that I'm being asked this, so I'm not sure. I believe that it would be probably a combination of the village as well as the alarm company itself, Pyramid, the vendor that we use.
Trustee Marsh.
You said that you can immediately step up and come over to the village if you utilize some of our employees. I mean, you'll bring them on board as an employee of yours, correct?
Yes, as long as they sufficiently meet the background requirements. We still would like them to go through the process, even though they're already employed with you.
And I noticed that on your emergency board, there would be a position for our police chief and fire chief also sit on that board. Correct?
Yes, that is correct. Police, fire, and then your ESDO director.
I noticed while there was Saturday, you had two dispatchers on, and then they would leave, the two dispatchers came on. So you maintain at least two dispatchers now. So if Sauk Village come on board, there will be three dispatchers on, three shifts off.
Yes, once you're at the central facility, there would be three. Since you're on a different police and fire band, we would have to accommodate that, which would be that you have a dedicated dispatcher 24/7. And then if they got too busy, the other two dispatchers would be able to help them out, that person out.
We're on Mavis 27, that shouldn't be a problem, I'm sure.
No, we have to get the correct programmed into our consoles. I already talked to Minor Electronics, which is our radio equipment and consoles, and they said that they would be able to do that.
Trustee Burns? No, okay, sorry. I had another question. Just answer it, but,
There's one other one. You said you had your three towns you have now that have various areas, and the town that video, and you monitor those areas. Now, that's a pretty expensive add of the village one to do that, correct? You don't do that automatically.
No, we do not do that automatically. That's dependent on what the village would like. You know, you might just choose to only have cameras placed in your police department for now. The system is allowable to be expanded. So let's say the first year you can only afford cameras at the station. Then maybe another year down the road, you find funding to place remote cameras around the village. That can be added later on. Because it works off of a canopy system, so it can be expanded exponentially.
And you don't foresee any problem at all bringing up our CAD system on the units we have already?
Well, in the interim time, we would be using your CAD system at your station, but you would have to, plan would be to convert over to our CAD system.
Is that a relative, very expensive conversion or?
I believe it priced out to, I can give you that
Around
thing.
$7,000.
That was for badge. The CAD was a little bit more, but it's included in that first proposal anyways. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
One last question before you leave. We would have to switch all of our 911 over to your board, right?
That's correct. And it works like an umbrella accounting system where we have a master account and then each individual town has their own account and you utilize your funds. on your account.
All right, thank you. All right. Did everyone have the next presentation? For Kurt, go ahead, thank you. Before I tell everyone, speak very loud into the mic. We're underneath this dome right here, where it sounds like we're talking very loud, but the residents in the back cannot hear you. So speak into it so it sounds like you're yelling. It'd be perfect for the residents.
Okay, great. First of all, I'd like to thank the village and board members and mayor for allowing us an opportunity to make a presentation here today. Just a quick who we are. My name is Tom Vanna, and I am the president and CEO of Kurtz Municipal Dispatching, as well as all of the other Kurtz-related EMS entities. Today I have with me the brains behind Kelcom, Jerry Corrigan. Jerry's here today to talk about technical questions and some of our technology, the new center, and all of the exciting things that we have there. Also with me today, I have Heidi Burns, my Chief Operating Officer, as well as Sue Stacy, who is also as our dispatch supervisor. So, just a little brief background on who Kurtz is. We are a family-owned and operated company. Began in 1977. My stepfather, Mr. Kurtz, was our founder. Unfortunately, disabled with Parkinson. So I have been taking care of the operations for about the last 15 years. Today, we employ about 750 people spanning 6 different states. We provide traditional private ambulance, critical care. We have 3 current dispatch centers up and running. We staff 26 municipal fire departments throughout Illinois, as well as into Wisconsin. We have a broad array of consulting services, and we also provide industrial staffing for EMS and fire, both in the petrochemical industry, as well as just recently manufacturing. We obtained a contract for the Volkswagen plant in Chattanooga. So that's just a kind of a broad spectrum of what it is that we do. If you just look at the next page, you'll see some of our fire department locations, dispatch locations, as well as industrial locations on the national clients there, and where Calumet Park comes into play. So, with this being said, what happened was that the Telcom obviously was putting together the state-of-the-art dispatch center, and we wanted to partner with somebody. And after long visits together back and forth, we were selected to go ahead and to provide this service. Some of the key features that we're going to talk about here in just a moment, I'd like to turn over to Jerry to discuss a little bit about our newest dispatch center. Jerry, to start?
Just remember, you're on time.
Good evening, everybody. I guess we'll start with how Calcom came into being. We do our current dispatching through Blue Island Dispatch Services, and their equipment is becoming very old and antiquated. And like a lot of the other stores around, we're running out of money and we're not able to upgrade their systems. We were looking at a looming deadline with the Americans with Disabilities Act for being able to take text to 911. Fortunately, Calumet Park was in a very strong financial position when we were able to go ahead and fund the building of a new facility. This is a ground-up facility, purpose-built for dispatch. I need to go to the next slide. We have 8 positions, so with the ability to dispatch for multiple towns. By combining and being able to dispatch from multiple towns, we're able to provide state-of-the-art equipment and cost sharing and cost savings for all the towns involved, including ourselves. We'll start with computer-aided dispatching. We use a computer-aided dispatching system called Capers. Capers, the officers can receive calls, clear or close the calls, run plates, run persons, anything they would do over the radio, they can do over the computer system in the car. There are other add-ons and options to that Caper system. You can add a records management system where you do all your police reports on it. All the information from your CAD system transfers over into the records management system, so when an officer goes to write his report, all the information that the dispatcher has already typed in is in the system. It also creates a database. So every time you put somebody into the system or put a car into the system, it's stored for the next time the officer wants to pull it up. It's there. It creates a history of, let's say, problem areas or recurrent occurrences. So if an officer has been dispatched to a domestic at a location, they can look at the history and see, well, this has happened six times in the last week. You may want to pay attention to what's going on. You have a problem. You have the ability to add mapping and GPS, where the officers can, or the dispatchers can see the closest officer or see the closest car rather than assigning his own car. They can be more efficient by sending the closest car. They have, in this paper system, you can also do your evidence. You can do adjudication after the officer enters the tickets they write. That can be transferred into the courtroom software, so you can run everything through this one system. But again, it's up to the village on how much money you want to spend and what options you want to add. I touched on it briefly, but we also have a geographic information system, which is basically mapping. We have a map on the screen, we know where the officers are, we know where the fire trucks are, we know where the call is coming from, and using maps, we can efficiently dispatch our public safety there. We had a computer-aided phone system, so not only will we be able to take 911 calls, we'll be able to transfer your administrative lines over. Let's say in the evening you don't have your station staff, or you have minimal staffing, you may be able to send all your telephone lines over to us so we can answer them for you, or send it back in the message boxes so that your phones will always be answered. Our radio system is the Motorola MCC 7500s. They're the latest radio systems available. Our projected lifespan of these is about another 10 years. We also added a video matrix system. This video matrix system has the ability to intake video, both digital and analog, from any entity that so chooses to give us permission. We could take it in from your village or your other facilities, your public works, if you have cameras watching it at night, your library, your local schools, local banks. We can pull all those videos in and we have a large video wall. And it sits up in front of the dispatchers that are able to watch multiple screens at the same time. The 911 system is called the Airbus. It's made by Airbus. It's called the Vesta 911. It's a next generation compliant 911 system. It has the ability to take and reroute 911 calls very efficiently. It's built robust enough that it can take GPS locations on cell phones when we get the cell phone companies on board with the next gen requirements. It will also do the legacy systems. The legacy systems meaning the old systems of the TTE, the TTY systems where deaf people can talk to dispatch. I mentioned a little bit earlier that there's a looming deadline for dispatch centers, and it is July 30th. And under the Americans with Disabilities Act, they all have to be next generation 911 compliant, meaning they have to be able to take text to 911. Now, obviously, many of the dispatch centers in Illinois are not going to be there for a long time, but we are. We will also be adding a firehouse notification software system. It's called the USBD Firehouse Notification System. It has the ability to remotely accesses the firehouse. It notifies the firefighters of calls, medical calls, et cetera, via computer. It has the ability to, through a number of relays, do any number of things, including close garage doors, turn stoves off, turn lights on, open doors when the firefighters come back in. There are message boards that display as the firefighters are leaving the station. There are message boards that are running that display the time that it's taken and the location they're going. And then we can go to building security. This is one that is not to be overlooked. The Illinois Commerce Commission has taken a very straight and stern look at building security and physical security of the building. In your handout, I included the administrative code from the Illinois Commerce Commission, and that they're looking for a secure building. There has to be locked 24 hours a day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In our building, we have 32 cameras, bulletproof lobby, multiple doors for anyone if you need to get to dispatch. There's key cards to get in. The building is built to FM 190 standards. I don't even know what that means, but it's a standard that's used in Florida to have buildings withstand hurricanes. It will withstand up to 190-mile-an-hour wind. It's built with redundant heating and air conditioning systems. It has 2 heating and air conditioning systems in the dispatch floor alone. So in case one goes bad, we're never without heating and air conditioning. We have battery backup to all the computer systems. So should there be a power failure, there's a battery that will run for approximately 30 minutes. And we have a generator that kicks in within seconds. It's a diesel generator. The reason we went with diesel is because the first thing that happens in a natural disaster is they shut the gas off. If you look at New Orleans in the flooding, anywhere that had an earthquake, the first thing they do is they shut the natural gas off, so you need some backup power. Our diesel generator will run for 2 weeks. We also have a hookup if there's a problem with the generator, that you can pull another generator in on a trailer, and so it's an additional generator we can add in. We have, in our server room, we have 3 5-ton craft units, which are air conditioners, to keep the servers nice and cool and operating efficiently. I won't bore you with the rest of it. We can go on and on.
Well, as you can tell, Jerry has done a lot of really great thought putting the center together. I think one of the strongest things that you're going to see from us, in addition to the quality of the equipment and the center itself, is the quality of the person also. There is a full-time administrator, Mark Davis. Mark used to run the 911 center for the city of Chicago. He's very knowledgeable and will be overseeing it. We've hired Sue Stacy as our dedicated manager, so there are no other additional duties, so they're not going to be dispatching for anyone other than ourselves in Cal Park at this time, and that will be their own responsibilities. Next one. So the proposal is to migrate to Calcom, and the idea would be to bring all of those functions to the center. It is a turnkey, fully loaded option inclusive of all the staff, equipment, the operations, managements, and facilities are included in that fee. Some of the things that we think are important when we're evaluating these proposals is not only to evaluate the equipment, which obviously there is the need for a lot of upgrading, and for you there is not going to be upgrade. It's all inclusive. As far as attorneys, I know you're going to like to hear the fact that we provide $15 million of coverage to the municipality, and then on top of it, there's another $10 million provided by Cal Park, so it's going to take $25 million of liability to ever pierce your coverages here within the community. Most vendors out there offer only like $3 to $5 million. We also offer a per occurrence basis versus a claims made. There's 2 ways to get insurance in the state of Illinois. The claims made means that the insurance, basically when the claim is made, so it could be 2 years after the actual incident, you may not have that vendor anymore, and they're going to need to buy a tail coverage. We offer per occurrence, and what that means is that when the claim is made, you've got coverage. So there's no tails, there's no worries about whether or not you're going to have coverage. As well as our company that we work with, Arch, is an A+ rated company by AM Best with a 15 rating after that, which is probably about one of the biggest and most stable companies that you'll find in the country for health insurance, for liability coverages. Okay? Qualifications. We went very extensive. We partnered with Lincoln Way Area Dispatch, which is in Lenox, Mokina, Frankfurt, East Joliet, Manhattan, for a testing process. All of the people that were applied for the position with Kurtz were given these written examinations. It's a national test used by very large dispatch centers, communities, to evaluate the ability of the dispatchers. With that being said, in addition to passing that, we offer an extensive pre-employment test. They're all given pre-employment drug and alcohol testing. We don't just do urinalysis, we do hair follicles, so we get all of the designer drugs too, and the oddball drugs. Believe it or not, you ought to see the stuff we find. We do a complete federal background check, fingerprinting, an MVR, motor vehicle record search, as well as a physical examination and a, we call it a physiological test about standing and lifting, and all the kinematics of their job are tested by a physical therapist just to make sure that they have that, as well as the training process they're going on now, and then one-to-one training process that any new people will undergo. So we feel that our employees are going to be top of the line. They all are going to be certified in LEADS, law enforcement agency's data system. They'll all be certified emergency medical dispatchers, CPR, APCO, which is the Association of Public Safety Communication Officials, NIMS, which is National Incident Management System, which is real important in getting all of your FEMA type grants. They have that in there, as well as communication training officer. So these people are significantly better trained than other companies that don't put a value on these certifications. So with that being said, go to the last page and so there's really nothing else to see on that last page. It's just kind of a closing type of thing. One of the things that I want to suggest to you here today to take into consideration, there's a couple of things that I think make us unique. Obviously, the dispatch center. One of the things that you're going to see here is the fact that there are no upgrade fees, there's no maintenance fees, there's no extras. The price that we've provided to you is inclusive of all maintenance, technology upgrades, and in fact, Mayor Denson has extended a $100,000 credit to Sauk Village to upgrade any of the equipment that is necessary to upgrade within your police vehicles. In other words, the computer dispatches, the computers in the police cars, all of that, so that all of the technology will be identical, and that will be a credit to you. Additionally, we believe obviously the equipment and the qualifications of the individuals are second to none. But what we also do from a partnership standpoint with Kellogg Park is that we're offering a set fee every year to the village. And what we do is we go ahead and we show them all of our costs, broken down, salaries, benefits, similar to the study you did to find out what it was costing you. We agree upon that those numbers are accurate, and we put a markup on top of that, okay? And the city, 60 days prior to every renewal, gets the opportunity to view that. The other thing we do is we capitate your cost increases. So the cost increases are guaranteed to never go above the percentage that's in the proposal. However, if the cost of the increases are actually less than that, then we go ahead and only charge you those actual costs. Last year, the increases throughout our company were an average of a 1.8% increase. So much less than the capitation that is out there. Additionally, you can speak to Flossmoor. They had an individual employee that had been there a very long time, very well compensated, very well benefited, that retired. We went back to the city and said, listen, this is a difference of $20,000. We credited mid-term of the contract. We didn't wait until the contract expires. We believe in being candid and open, and that way the wage and the benefits benefit the employees. We're starting as dispatchers at $38,000 a year, which is at or above anywhere else in the geographic region. We offer full medical insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield. We offer PPO, HMO, low deductibles. HMO, in fact, there's no deductible. We offer vision. We offer dental, vision, life. Life is free. We pay up to 1 times their annual earnings. We have a 401k that we match dollar for dollar up to 4%. It's the highest in the private staffing industry that I'm aware of right now. Most of our competitors are 25 cents to dollar for dollar, up to dollar for dollar, and not even up to 4%. So we have an aggressive PTO schedule. They begin to accrue their vacation time during the first year. So when most employees go to work for a new company, they're required to go ahead and wait a year before they have time off. Kurtz doesn't believe in that. Kurtz believes in the fact that they need paid time off during the first year. So they begin accruing day one. After 90 days, after the probationary period, they can begin to draw down on that. And that increases every year up to, I believe, $102 of accrued paid time off. The vesting schedule vests at 20% a year on that 401k. I forgot to mention that. So that after 6 years, these individuals are fully vested. They don't have to wait 10, 20, 30 years in order to be the recipient of those contributions. Additionally, we contribute bi-weekly for our employee matching. Many companies only match one time a year, so the employee doesn't get the full benefit of the employee contribution. We believe if that they're putting that away, we should put away at the same time and give them the benefit of that growth. So that's just a quick overview of our business philosophy in regards to wage and benefit. We try to keep it ahead of the game so that people want to come to work for us rather than to other dispatch centers. Still not loud enough? I'm sorry. I apologize. So those are some of the advantages we believe in at Kurtz and this partnership. Now, the real advantage here is that the goal of us doing this is we are attempting to get more communities to join aboard with us. So the idea of this is that the capacity or the number that you see there this year, it would be our hope and our intent to continue by sharing to lower these costs every year. The idea wouldn't be to just say, well, you know, what's your annual increase going to be? Well, the annual increase may be 5%, but if we gain more communities or fire departments, the idea is that we want to bring that cost down to the city. So we're looking at this as kind of hopefully being the worst case scenario in year one and continuing to attrition down as we grow based on the quality and the center that we have. So that's kind of the thought process we have as opposed to, you know, what is it going to increase to? My biggest goal is to come back to all of you cities and say, you know, your contributions all went down by 10% or 20% because we've increased business by 20%, and you know, what happened.
Enough questions?
I tried to get it all quick, so I apologize if I was. And I'm sorry if I didn't speak into the mic enough. I apologize.
Open up for questions. Trustee Myers? You want Trustee Burgess?
Yes, first of all, people that have home security systems, would they have to reapply to, or would it be picked up?
We will not be monitoring home security systems. We don't have that in place, so we can put that in place. Quite honestly, the large companies, ABTs and Tycos, can do it a lot more cheaply and a lot more efficiently than we ever could. So we would encourage them to go to whatever provider they have and go through their call center, which would route the call to us. So the call will come directly to us, yes, from their call center. But we will not be monitoring them directly on site.
Also, our radios, are they compatible, or is that? I'm sure it's going to be an upgrade. Is that included in that $100,000?
Yeah, all your base station radios are going to be wireline back to our station, our dispatch center. So you have the new Motorola MCC 7500s, which are the latest, greatest radios for your base station. I don't know what condition your radios are in your cars, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what we will do is we will wireline back to Cal Park, and it's the speed of light. So your radios, it's absolutely compatible. It's just a matter of programming frequencies.
In other words, basically what I'm saying is our police department, fire department, would they have to purchase or get new radios, get a chip or something?
No, they'll stay on their own systems. We've no intention of having anybody move off their systems. We have the ability to do multiple different bands. Cal Park, for example, we're on the 800 megahertz band, which is the countywide system, which I think the majority of the police departments are on. We're actually migrating our fire departments to that system, seeing as it's a much more robust system. But their old systems are also going to keep in place, so you don't have to change your pages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, I know when we were out there, we was asked about the readiness of your dispatch center. Right now, May 1st, if we go with you May 1st, what would happen? Is your center up and running, or would you come here? And if you come here, would you use our dispatchers, or would you use outside?
Well, what's going to have to happen is once the board comes to an agreement, we're going to have to put an application into the Illinois Commerce Commission. The Illinois Commerce Commission controls all 911 in the state. That's part of the reason why I gave you that sheet of administrative codes from the Illinois Commerce Commission. And I urge you to go and walk through all the centers who are evaluating to make sure you meet that compliance. Because the Illinois Commerce Commission can turn an application down, where it takes a minimum of 6 weeks from the time we would sign an agreement until we get a request in for a hearing at the Illinois Commerce Commission.
But in the meantime, right.
But in the meantime,
Yeah, in the meantime, what we would do is we would offer that if the contract expires and we were selected and we didn't have it through the ICC, we would staff your center, your equipment, and as far as employment, we would be offering any of your employees the opportunity to apply to work with us, and they obviously would be given preferential hiring based on their time and commitment to the city of Sauk Village.
Now, would they move to the new center, or would this just be a hire until it is moved to the new center?
Well, I mean, again, we only have so many full-time positions.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
Again, if they pass all of the requirements, then certainly we would go ahead and use the minimum as part-time, and then they would have the next full-time. But right now, we do have, how many candidates?
10.
We have 10 candidates.
Can't hear you.
10 candidates currently for the positions, which it'll take 8 plus the 1 supervisor to staff it, not including part-time staffing. So with that being said, we have 2 alternates at this point, just in case they don't meet.
So basically, you would use our, the dispatchers that would, would want to do that, but after they move, or after you move out of here to Cal Park, you would go with your own, and they will become, I guess, either part-timers or on a waiting list.
Or full-time if a position is open. Yeah, I mean, there's no way I can guarantee that at this point.
And also, the last question, I know the last time we talked, you didn't have any other communities. Do you still, or do you have any other communities that are, I'm gonna say looking, that you actually have?
We're negotiating with
Still in negotiation with us?
2 other communities, yes, sir. Now, the other thing that we can offer too, as far as from your dispatcher's perspectives, is please remember that we have not only our private ambulance dispatch center, but we also have 2 other municipal dispatch centers that your staff would be certainly welcome to bid for.
And then, I don't know, this keeps coming up, but I keep trying to remember. Your monitoring system. I saw that, we saw the center, we saw that you're capable of monitoring. Is that an extra cost, or would that also be, is it a monthly cost, yearly cost to keep that monitoring system up as far as monitoring our prison, our lockups? You have a prison.
Yeah, you're
Monitor our lockups, and would that be a cost that we would pay each and every year, or is that something that you guys would do?
The cost that we're presenting to you is all inclusive.
So that would be inclusive?
Yes. As long as you have the technology
Oh,
to interface with ours, but yes.
Well, in other words, we have to install the cameras.
Well, yeah. If you're
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
So in other words, you have to buy the cameras, install them. All you can do is just pick up the key.
Correct.
Okay.
And anything going back, if I remember right, I've got down here, you're crediting us $100,000 up front to make any additional upgrades that we think that we need to make.
So essentially, you're not going to pay for dispatch services for the first 4 months. Any money you would spend would go towards utilizing or to upgrading any of your systems.
So let's look at the other question too, where you talked about on May 1st. Now, if May 1st came up and all of our current dispatchers went and got a job somewhere else,
Yes.
are you able to man our station?
Yes.
But we would definitely want to make sure that we have first preference for our employees.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, again, anytime that we assume a contract, we always intend to try to hire back the people that have been loyal to the community. And, now there are some times that I'm going to be candid. There's certain things that prohibit it. And with dispatching, you have to have a lot of things that they have to pass that when we look, it's not, they're prohibited, if you will, based on law, if they have any type of background stuff that we uncovered. Yeah. Well,
I would also add that it is a priority for us to add dispatchers that are familiar with the current community. Their officers they work with, the firemen they work with. It helps us very much that they're familiar with the geography, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it is a preference for us to have somebody that's knowledgeable, that is local, so we can keep a good working relationship with the police department, the fire department, with the EMS. They know where they're sending their guys. The guys are familiar with their voices, et cetera, et cetera. So it does help a lot if we can get them in, we will.
So basically, you're looking at, say May 1st, you're looking at least 4 to 6, 6 to 8 weeks, you said. So it'd be 2 months that we would still be working out of here until everything else is taken.
probably until at least June 15th is what we're going to guess. We're going to go 6 weeks to get through it depends on how quick you as a board make a decision. We can't go ahead.
No, I'm just looking at
6 weeks.
6 weeks, okay.
Yes, sir, 6 weeks. And that's not for any reason other than getting the necessary paperwork accomplished.
Any other questions? Mr. Myers? Okay. Okay. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. I appreciate the opportunity to present.
Thank you. All right, is there leaving? Start getting back here. I'm going to get to, if you're going to have discussions with Julia, can you please go out the door for us? If you're not to have talks, if you want to talk to them, please take them outside. Please keep on going, so we keep this meeting on. Thank you very much. If you want to talk to them, or if you want to stay in the hallway. All right, move to public comments. All questions and comments are directed to the mayor. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on topics of their choice. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak. If you have something you want to say, we're going to actually come up to the mic. And then I'll try to get it. If you would please state your name for the record.
My name is Sharon Orchid Davenport. Good evening, everyone. My question tonight is in reference to School District 168. So on behalf of 168, the question is, how long can we expect to wait, especially given that we are working with small children? The time is crucial. For instance, today we had an emergency and we had 911. Will we be able to ask some questions, or will you all be addressing our board or our superintendent to let us know where we stand and what we should expect, or if there's going to be any kind of change our school district with our small children needing the 911 services?
Is that your question?
Yeah.
All right. Wait time, I think with any dispatch center that's chosen, we already know they'll be in our same facility here for approximately 6 to 8 weeks. So you're not going to see any change there. And even when they move to their next facility, there's not going to be any changes. It's going to be automatic. So again, I think we saw 3 great presentations tonight. All 3 of these companies, they already have dispatch centers. They're already working with other communities. Again, we reached out to other communities. We talked to other mayors to find out. And there's very little, because since they already have their other facilities, they're working on our facility, a lot of us are simultaneously, and then moving stuff over. So there should be none, and when we were looking into this, we wanted to see if there was going to be any type of delay. But we live in a society where everything happens just like this, and that's the way they are. So, and again, there's quite a few. You got Econ, you got EastCon, you got SouthCon, you got I can't remember all of them. We got a whole entire, and we got about 7 or 8 of them. So reaching out to all these dispatch centers, trying to find out the pros and the cons, and that's one thing we did ask, is there any delay, and all we came across said no. It's just like being right out of the center. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Debbie Robinson. I live in Lincoln Meadows, and I have a question and a comment. My question is, who owns the entranceway? Is it the village or is it our building?
Is that your question?
Well, no, I have one question here and then one comment.
Okay, go ahead. Do your comment.
So in my comment, I've been calling the building on several occasions trying to find out who owns that farmland behind us, and I just keep getting the runaround. I've even called your office twice, Mayor, and I didn't get a response. And I'm sure that somebody knows who owns that farmland, who the farmer is. That's it, yes.
Okay, first of all, the entranceway belongs to the community, or I don't think that was ever sent over to the village. So I'll double check, but I don't remember ever being donated to the village, so it's still the developer, but I will double check and follow up on that. Now, when you talk about the farmland, you've got 2 different farmers. If you're talking about the farm to the north-south to the east, that's one farmer. If you're talking about the one to the west, that's another farmer. So if you give me an idea, okay, if you're going into your subdivision, coming off Stater Road, do you live on the left-hand side or the right-hand side?
Left-hand side.
Okay, so left-hand side. Right, we won't identify. So, yeah. Well.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah, so.
394.
Okay, so that's, I've been advised not to give a name out.
Okay, that's fine.
But let's meet afterwards.
Okay.
I gotta refresh my memory what their name is, but
Okay.
there is an owner there still.
Okay, and then the owner needs to take care of the property. That's my comment.
And give me a little bit more on the taking care of properties or something
Well,
particular.
weeds and stuff are growing up a little high.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Larry Stewart, Sauk Village. This was very interesting. I'm going to stay on that subject. First, I heard that 2 trustees didn't agree with this. I applaud them. The variables that were in this presentation were far-reaching and far apart. You know, I'm looking at it where I'm so glad I'm not a trustee. Well, don't feel bad, neither you all. But I'm just listening to the crowd. Sorry, Mr.
Please try to keep it here.
Okay.
Thank you.
But at the same time, this is supposed to be cost efficient. I listened to a lot of the numbers and the variables that were in there. I failed to hear anything to where we're saving. You know, we're going to lose in a lot of different ways. But I'll leave it to the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right?
My name is Jan Clark. I don't usually write down my questions, but I want to make sure they're worded properly and I don't forget. Question 1. Why did the village attorney write the letter to Katie Huffnagel and not the village? Katie Huffnagel was the one, the dispatcher, that received a letter of termination, just so you all know. Is that because this was done before you even spoke to the police department or our trustees, Mr. Mayor? That was question number 1. Question 2. What board meeting was it voted on by the trustees to terminate our dispatchers? Question 2. I told you last night I was going to ask this. Please be prepared. I guess this is what your preparation calls for. Okay. Question 3. Anyone on the board, this could be directed to, but Mr. Mayor, as of today, April 21st, 2015, is there any agreement for 9/11 and all its requirements been made for the services to Sauk Village as of today? Question 4. Has Mr. Fairman's contract been seen by the board members? All of them? Mr. Mayor?
I'm ready, go ahead. I'm ready to your question.
Okay. Because by the time, it's brought up and discussed at a regular committee meeting, that's going to be after May 1st. And I don't know how we can, expect to have the contract started by May 1st if this isn't already. That's all my questions.
Can you do me a favor, can you please repeat question number 3? You said as of today.
As of today, today's date,
Okay.
is there any agreement for the 9/11 and all its requirements been made for the services to Sauk Village? I understand we had 3 representatives.
I don't understand.
Is there an agreement already put in place? Is my
Was
question.
anyone here today? Was the ones that get presentations?
Any
Okay.
company,
That's my information. Okay.
any company.
Right. Okay, let's go ahead. Number 1, why the village attorney wrote the letter to Katie, and we want to know about when and the board and everything. Let's talk a little bit about what happened, and it's part of the beginning of my opening speech here. The union, we had to go off and we had to start negotiations. We started negotiations with the union last month, so back in March, right? In March, we started. Yeah, so 3 months ago, we started to contact the unions. We sat down with them as of March. We had to give the unions the opportunity to either meet or beat. We had to provide the unions all the information that we currently had and give them the opportunity, again, to meet or beat. So when it passed,
So
it
you
was.
had all this
hang on.
information? I'm sorry.
Now, I'm answering you the best I can, okay, but there's no back and forth on this one, okay? So, starting last month, we did negotiations with them. And you asked about the letter coming from the attorneys. The village board was met with multiple times. The village board knew exactly what was going on. Every time we had a meeting with the union, we made sure we tried to make sure we had executive session because it fell under personnel. Again, when we were in negotiations with the union, this personnel is something that's discussed. The board knew exactly the steps that were being taken. And you talk about why did it come from the attorney's office. The attorneys are the ones who are representing us. The attorneys are the ones that are involved in the negotiations with the union. So you talk about termination and for firing of employees, what it is the village is not entering into a contract with the union. We've terminated the contract going forward. Terminated the contract with the union. So there's no longer a contract there because the union came back to the village and made the decision that they did not want to make the concessions based off the cost savings. And we talked about cost savings. This is a cost savings of over $300,000. We provided all the information to the unions so they knew exactly how much it was going to cost the village, and we provided their current budget so they know exactly what it costs the village to have a dispatch center. So, and again, we talked about at the beginning of the meeting about how the cost for the dispatch center was going to continue to go up anywhere between 2 and 7% based off of additional raises that the unions get for negotiations, getting the attorneys involved in those, and also because of insurance rates and things like that. So that's where we're at there on the termination. As of today, nothing has been signed by anyone. There is nothing that, there's no agreements. What you heard tonight was presentations on 3 companies that want to provide a service. So there's nothing done there. And then Mr. Fairman, his contract, having been seen by the board has approved the agreement with Mr. Fairman. The board saw what we're offering. And so
we don't have a transparent government if it's not brought up at the meeting that the trustees.
There's no debate here. You're going back and forth. Again, if you want to talk again after the meeting, and if we're not going further, but again, I mean, those are the 4 questions you asked, and those are the answers. So, all right.
Bernice Brewer on behalf of the Sauk citizens of public awareness. I have a couple of questions. Recently we just bought the equipment, and I want to know, have any of those 3s, or have you guys negotiated with them? Because they use some of that equipment stuff that we just recently bought. We still have a bond to pay for, or we just still have to pay a bond. If they talk about doing all these great things, so I was wondering if that's one idea that was thrown into them and would be useful. The second question is that you always call.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is he finished talking?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm the attorney. You see what I mean? Anyway, my second question is that we, again, asked for cost initiative. Now, one idea we want to throw out to you is that since Rebecca Salisbury has been the assistant chief, you said that yesterday, you said that the salary for the chief was in the budget. So we're suggesting that you bump up her salary, make her the chief, and then with the rest of the money, take it and put it in Parks and Recs, because that's one way that we could keep kids off the street and have a police chief. Oh Lord, I suggested it. It doesn't have anything to do with water, so let's be quiet.
All right, please, no comment from the audience. Please keep it here. But please keep it here. And audience, please, pay as much respect to her as she's paying you. She has the right to come to the mic. I would ask you, please.
Well, you still got an idiot over here.
Hang on. No, hang on. We don't want to call names. Okay, please. We're all adults here. I don't see too many children here. Let's act like adults. Okay, please continue. Thank you.
Well, that's the consideration I would like you guys to give as a cost initiative. You guys are always complaining about the kids on the street. We need money for Parks and Recs. So we take the rest of the money out of the salary for the current police chief give the fire arrest of Salisbury South. She's been an acting police chief twice before, as I understand, and she's good at her job, so I don't see why in any way why she shouldn't have that position. But those are two things. And then I also want to know, since we got to pay a bond, if any of these companies, they can talk to them about, using some of the equipment we have that we got to pay them for.
All right, is that it?
That's it.
All right. You bring up some good questions about the equipment. We're currently looking into, what can be done with the equipment. Our equipment is old. You heard the deputy chief mention that we were in revision 7, and they're in revision 11 or 12 right now. So it has not been upkept. It has not been upgraded. So that's why, another reason why, in the beginning opening statement, it talked about the amount of money it takes to get our current system up to the mandated requirements by the state. We're looking at anywhere between $1.5 and $2 million to get our equipment up to speed. Okay, hang on.
I didn't hear that.
Hang
What
on.
did you say?
Okay, $1.5 to $2 million to get our equipment up to speed. There's additional cost that is required. Again, when we looked into this, there's what they call unfunded mandates coming out of Springfield. Okay, an unfunded mandate is a mandate that Springfield puts upon a municipality and they do not fund it. Then they tell the municipality, here's what you have to do, and get it done. So when you look at our current equipment, it needs to be upgraded. So we're looking to see if there's anyone out there who may have an old book system that would like to purchase it, or anything like that. So there's some research that has to be done. You talk about the cost savings initiative, and again, I appreciate your suggestion. We currently have a deputy chief, and she is the highest ranking officer in that department. So she will remain in that position. And by state statute, the police chief is appointed by the mayor with the consent and approval of the village board. So at this time, and currently, or previously, I have not presented anyone to this board. I think we have a lot of things that need to be taken care of. We've got a new board coming on. We've got a budget that we're working on. We'll be here again tomorrow night working on the budget. We're looking at the dispatch center. We're working very hard to make sure that our dispatchers have jobs. That's priority for everyone sitting up here. And we said at the beginning of this meeting, it was nothing about their performance. It was nothing about the employees. It's a financial decision. Sometimes when you have to make those financial decisions, you want to make sure that your employees, especially the long-term employees, and we have some great employees. You'll never hear me say anything bad about them. With what they have to put up, you think about they're working all hours. They take phone calls from people who have a dire emergency. They're taking phone calls from people who are upset. And they do a great job dealing with the public. And sometimes the public is a difficult position. We're sitting up here, we ask you to elect us, so we go to the public. Some people get a job, and it gets to be difficult, and they work long hours. If you look at the amount of overtime they worked last year. But I do appreciate your suggestion, but I think there's other things that need to be addressed first before we move forward with that. So, thank you.
Judy Pence here. When this dispatch thing came about a while back, there was only one consideration at the time, and that was first. And the paper that I have with the cost, I said at the town hall meeting that the figures didn't add up. And so I checked out further, and they do not add up, and I'll tell you why. Your figures are from the year 13 and 14. That's when we had a full-blown personnel dispatch service. We have been down 4 full-time people for quite a while now. That brings this cost factor down to beneath what I feel some of these people are offering
on their paperwork tonight for the services to go to them. So I think it needs another look at the figures and exactly where we're at as to what we're paying out as of right now for dispatchers, not 2013, and see that if we really need to get rid of them. Secondly, I have another question, and that is Enbridge. Enbridge is putting the pipeline in, and we have been a village that has been a part of, and they gave us money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My question is, why is the Chicago Heights Police Department providing them with the security? Why isn't the Sauk Village Police Department getting a part of that? They're great workers, they do what you want, you just commended them, but they're not good enough for that? When you talked about Mr. Fairman, I think when you talk about cost initiative, that we're all aware of what your personal feelings were toward Tim Holivas, and he's gone. So he's out of the picture, and it's my feeling that we do not need a safety director to overlook people that have been in their positions for all the years that they've been in there. As far as Rebecca Salisbury goes, you allotted money for a police chief outside of the village in the new budget. Therefore, it is something that needs to be talked about. You're putting it in the budget.
That's right.
Rebecca Salisbury has given as much of her time and her effort and her dedication to this village and the people of this village for 22 years. She's better than anybody you can find on the outside that maybe our attorney wants to put in there. No, I'm not done. You also could save cost initiative $2,300 a month by getting rid of the safety officer who's going to get an assistant.
Your time is up. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you for abiding by the rules. All right, dispatch, the numbers that we provided, especially the numbers tonight, are based off this last year's budget, so I double checked before I came in, so the numbers we have are correct. Again, all we do is continue with residents, so we're not just getting rid of people, we are not renewing a contract. Okay, so you talk about Enbridge, why are they using Chicago Heights Police Department? I think that's probably a question for Enbridge. Enbridge is the one who hires their security. I can't tell you that what kind of deal or not what deal, but what kind of contract they have with Chicago Heights. I couldn't tell you what they have with them. Again, Enbridge can hire probably whoever they want for the best price. So if they have Chicago Heights PD, they can go off and get an outside security company and bring them in. It's up to Enbridge. It's an outside company. So it's not us. You talk about, again, I don't know what you think or feel my personal feelings were toward Mr. Chief Holivas. We got along good for years, and I know that when he left there, it's kind of hostile feelings, and I really went over try to talk to him to find out what I did to try to make it right, because I do know that whatever I did, he took it, and again, I can only do this, and I apologize in public for whatever I did to offend him. And before his last day, I went to try to talk to him. I don't know what I did. I try to let any department, and you can ask any department, I don't tell departments how I run, departments how I run departments. I let them run their departments. Could I give Chief Holivas everything he wanted? No, I couldn't. I can't give the fire department everything they want. I can't give us everything they want. And that's the only thing I could see is he asked for stuff that we could not provide. We could not provide additional police vehicles. There's just things that he asked for that it was out of my hands. So I worked, I was a cadet on the police department when Tim Holivas was there. Okay, I worked with him for years as a trustee. I still wish I knew what I did, and if I knew, I would do my best to get it worked out right, honestly. No one knows my feelings toward anyone. You know, I try to be a very fair person. And whatever I do, sometimes everyone's not going to agree. I mean, you can ask my wife, she doesn't agree with me all the time. And we've been married for 20-some years. And that's probably one thing she gets upset with, exactly how many years it is. But again, I like everyone. I appreciate your suggestions for Deputy Chief Sauk. And I'm sure she appreciates everyone who stands up here in support of her also.
Thank you.
But again, you talked about, I don't know where you get your numbers from saying that the numbers are in the budget for an outside chief. That's not true. The numbers are in there as the same thing that Tim Holmes was making. So those numbers have not changed when it comes to salary-wise for the police chief. And again, the police chief is appointed by the mayor. And when I get to the point where I decide to present a police chief to this board, it will be open to anyone who wants to apply for the position. So, and again, that's by state statute. State statute says it's an appointment by the mayor with consent approved of the village board. I've already said earlier, we have a lot of other things going on. We have a deputy chief in position who is running that department. And she's back there, but we have a deputy chief in position. We have a lot of other important things, getting a budget passed, working out for our dispatchers, so they have somewhere to go with on by the end of this month. Making a decision on which dispatch center we're going to go to. So there's a lot of other important things to go on to work with. All right? Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hi, Couch. I just had a question regarding the 911, which was a couple of years ago, we brought it out. Had that been approved, would that made any difference at this point? Because I know there were a lot of our residents balloted against it. Would it have helped? Would it not have helped? And a lot of times in the job, people should respect their people that are trying to lead them and help them, and respect has to be earned. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if it would really help in the situation because of the amount of the cost savings. I know that we needed the 911 when it comes to making 911 repairs and things like that. And the fire chief, he's on the 911 board. He knows what the 911 board pays out and what they don't have enough money for, and what he would like to have more money for when it comes to getting those 911. You talk about what we're referring to 911 fees, where we ask residents to increase their $1 on their phone. Yes.
I've been a resident for 57 years. I've heard swinging yell out every time I can. I'm not supposed to speak anyway.
Hey, Anthony, if you're going to talk in the background, if you would please walk out the door so the residents can hear.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I know that we constantly hear that we have to save money, and everything I read, heard, and researched, we need to outsource this. I've been here, like I said, for 58 years. I think we need to modernize what we're doing too. I have nothing against anyone who has dispatched, and I hope they can all get a job with whatever center takes it over. But I think we need something more modern. Unfortunately, last year, we had to call for an ambulance many a time. I've had good experiences, and I've had bad experiences when I've come in for help. I didn't take names, it doesn't matter. I want us to have the best system so that if other people are in the position my husband was in, they can get the best help they can get as quick as they can get it. I also have a son in the fire department, and I want us to have the best possible service for all of the firemen. My husband was a fireman for 10 years. He took great pride in the fact his son is off. I just want to see that we get the best that we can have out here to serve the residents and the best cost savings we can get. And I love the comment you made earlier comparing it to a call center. My job is to manage a call center, and we have taken on 20-some different products across the United States for different areas. And it has been a wonderful improvement for those people. Granted, it's not a life and death matter, but we have seen where call centers can improve and keep the cost down. I just want to say, think it through. A thank you to the police and the paramedics and the firemen that took care of my husband and his emergencies until his passing 10 days ago. I'm done. Thank you.
Wow. I haven't seen this guy for a long time.
John Hinkle, 1636 George 16th Place. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's in your hands. I mean, you guys are the ones that are going to win. You guys gotta make the decisions. And it's, that's what we put you in there for, is to run the village. And if it's to save money, you gotta do it. That's what it comes down to. And if we still get the services that we got right now, I'm quite sure all three of these companies seem to be very competent companies. I mean, they ain't something that just started up last week to come in and give us a bid. So I say it's in your hands. I mean, if you feel that's the way the village should go, then that's the way to do it. Other than that, I'd say you guys do a good job.
All right, anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move to miscellaneous business. Okay, miscellaneous business comments for the Board of Trustees. Start with Trustee Williams, Trustee Burgess, Trustee Boston, Trustee Morgan, Trustee Washington. I mean, you can. Thank you for everyone else for giving up your time.
I'll take all your time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to remind everyone that we have our neighborhood watch meetings every second Monday of the month at the fire station. We are currently looking for new block club captains. If you want to be a block club captain on your block, or you know someone on your block that you think would be a good block club captain, I'd like you to refer them to me so that we can have them to come to our meetings and to sign up for neighborhood watch. Also, we have a proposal and we have a extension with the no bullying and no texting while driving campaign. Those pledges are going to be coming to an end very soon. So if you know anyone that have not yet, or your children have not yet signed the no bullying campaign, or you have not signed the no texting while driving campaign, for our display we're going to put out in the foyer, then you need to turn those pledges in. And we also have a new program that we are extending through the Neighborhood Watch, a junior Neighborhood Watch program for the summer. So we're very excited about that with the Neighborhood Watch. And if you know any youth, especially we're targeting teenagers, if they want to be a part of our Junior Neighborhood Watch program for the summer, you can let me know and let their parents on your block know they can get in contact with me as well. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee March? For that, I have no comments. I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.